The couple enters the restaurant, their hearts filled with excitement. As they step through the grand entrance, the atmosphere inside is a perfect blend of elegance and warmth. The soft glow of candlelight flickers across the marble tables, and the gentle hum of background music adds to the sophisticated vibe of the place. They have been planning this night for months. Their anniversary dinner has to be perfect, and they have chosen this prestigious restaurant as the place to mark the occasion. The woman in a beautifully tailored dress holds her partner's arm with a smile that shows just how happy she is to be here. The man in a sharp suit beams back at her, sharing in the joy of the moment. They are greeted by a hostess who ushers them to a corner table with a view of the entire restaurant. The table is set with fine china and crystal glasses gleaming under the low light. The air smells faintly of herbs and roasting meats. It's a moment they've imagined for so long. They settle into their seats and exchange a look of contentment. The waiter arrives soon after with a menu in hand. He greets them with a polite smile, but there is something about his expression that feels distant. He doesn't seem to notice how the couple's faces light up at the chance to be in such an upscale place. His voice lacks warmth as he recites the specials of the evening, and the couple quickly notices the lack of enthusiasm in his tone. They glance at each other in surprise, unsure of whether it's just the waiter's nature or if something is off. Still, they continue with the evening, ordering drinks and appetizers with the hope that the night will improve. The waiter takes their order without much care, making no effort to ask if they have any preferences or if they need any recommendations. It's clear he's simply going through the motions. The woman tries to make small talk, asking the waiter about a certain dish she'd read about online. She wants to learn more about it before committing, but the waiter responds in a curt manner, barely pausing before moving on to the next request, his attention divided between the couple and other tasks. He doesn't engage with them beyond what's necessary. They try to shake off the uncomfortable feeling that's starting to settle between them, thinking that maybe they're overreacting. Perhaps it's just a busy night for the staff. They exchange a nervous laugh, but the tension lingers. The woman glances around the restaurant, trying to take in the surroundings again. She notices the other diners who seem to be enjoying themselves, laughing and chatting with their servers. The ambience is lively, yet the couple feels out of place. The waiter leaves without another word, leaving them to gaze at their menus in silence. The man takes her hand across the table with his warm touch, offering a sense of reassurance. They've had special nights together before, but something about this evening feels different. The food is supposed to be the highlight of the evening, and they want it to be flawless. They just didn't expect to feel so distant from the service. They begin to doubt their choice of restaurant, but decide to give it more time. They've come so far. They deserve to have a memorable night, and maybe things will turn around. But the moment the waiter returns with their drinks, it becomes clear that their expectations for a luxury experience are slowly slipping away. He places the drinks on the table with barely a word, his face still showing no emotion, and walks off without waiting for any acknowledgement. They sit in silence, both unsure of what to do next. The excitement of the evening begins to fade, and a sense of unease settles over them. They are here to celebrate their love, but it feels like the spark of the night has been extinguished before it even had a chance to fully ignite. The waiter's lack of enthusiasm becomes even more apparent as he moves around the restaurant without making eye contact with anyone. His footsteps are quick and indifferent as he passes by their table once again. Without a word, the couple exchanges an uncomfortable glance, but neither of them speaks up, both hoping things will improve with time. They try to focus on the ambience around them, the gentle clinking of silverware, the soft murmur of other conversations, but the distance between them and the restaurant's atmosphere grows wider. They try to ignore the growing tension. Instead, they pick at their appetizers quietly. The waiter eventually returns to take their main course order, but by now the couple's patience is wearing thin. He asks if they're ready, but his tone is robotic, as if he's merely repeating a script. He offers no guidance on the menu, no suggestions, no warmth in his words. They reluctantly place their order, feeling as though they're just another transaction in his night. His eyes flicker toward the kitchen, as if his mind is elsewhere, as if he can't wait to be done with the interaction. He walks off without so much as a smile, leaving the couple to sit in silence. Once more, they try to shrug off the unease they're feeling, but it's becoming more difficult with each passing moment. The woman tries to make another attempt at small talk, asking the man if he wants to try a new wine pairing. But he seems distracted, lost in his own thoughts. Perhaps he's also feeling the shift in the mood. But neither of them wants to ruin the night by bringing it up out loud. Instead, they both stare into their glasses of wine, the dark red liquid swirling gently as they wait for the food to arrive. It feels like an eternity. The couple's initial excitement has faded entirely, now replaced by a sense of disappointment. They had imagined this night being filled with laughter and conversation, but instead it feels like they're two strangers sitting at the same table, unsure of how to bridge the gap between them. The woman looks around again, noticing the other guests enjoying their meals. Their laughter is genuine, and their interactions with the staff seem warm. The contrast couldn't be clearer. They feel more isolated than ever, but try to hold on to the hope that the food will redeem the experience. They both love food and know that the right dish can make any evening special. They only need to focus on that. But it's hard to keep their minds off the waiter, who continues to move around the restaurant with the same indifferent expression on his face. Finally, after what feels like an eternity, the waiter returns with their main courses. He places the plates down in front of them with little ceremony, barely waiting for a thank you or acknowledgement before walking off, as if it's just another task checked off his list. The couple stares at their plates, unsure of how to react. The food is beautifully presented, and they can smell the tantalizing aromas. But something is off. They can't shake the feeling that the meal has lost its charm without the warmth of proper service. The man picks up his fork and takes a bite, but the excitement is gone. It's as though the food is no longer the centerpiece of the evening. They both try to enjoy it, but every bite feels hollow. The woman looks up at the waiter, who is now standing across the room chatting with another table with a smile on his face, completely different from the coldness he showed them moments earlier. She catches his eye for a second, but he quickly looks away before their gaze can lock. It's as though they don't even exist to him. Their frustrations grow as the evening drags on, but neither of them says a word. Instead, they quietly finish their meals, their hearts heavy with disappointment. They came here for a night of celebration, but instead it feels like a night of endurance, trying to get through the awkwardness and lack of connection. They wish they had known that the service would taint the experience to this extent. As the meal progresses, the discomfort between the couple grows with each passing moment. They continue eating in silence, neither of them saying much anymore, as the once joyful celebration becomes a dull routine of eating and glancing around, hoping for some spark of energy to return to the evening. But it doesn't come. The waiter never once checks back in on them, despite their clear discomfort. Instead, he floats between the other tables with ease, smiling and chatting with guests who seem to be enjoying their meals as though they've stepped into another world, one where hospitality and warmth are the focus. But here at this table, the coldness lingers. The woman watches him interact with the other diners, her frustration building. By the second, she wants to say something, but she knows it won't do any good. The evening has already taken a turn, and it's clear now that nothing will bring back the charm of what they had imagined just hours before. She catches her partner's eye. He looks tired too. The enthusiasm he once had is gone, replaced by a quiet resignation. He picks up his glass of wine and takes a sip, not really tasting it. The woman can feel the weight of the silence pressing in on them. They both want to speak up, but they're not sure how to express the growing dissatisfaction. Neither of them wants to ruin what's left of the night, but it's hard to ignore how poorly the service has affected their experience. Just when they think they might be able to get through the rest of the meal and leave the restaurant as quietly as possible, something unexpected happens. The chef suddenly emerges from the kitchen, his tall figure moving through the restaurant with purpose, his eyes scanning the room as if searching for something. He makes his way toward the couple's table, and they both sit up a little straighter. The woman can feel her heart rate increase. A strange feeling of anticipation fills the air. What could he possibly want from them? They wonder. Perhaps he's heard the complaints. Perhaps he's going to offer an apology. Maybe it's a surprise course or a gift to make up for the awkwardness. But none of those expectations come true. Instead, the chef stops just short of their table and looks down at the waiter still carrying out his duties across the room. His gaze hardens for a moment. The couple notices his intense focus. They exchange a quick glance, wondering what's happening next. The chef's movements are slow and deliberate. He takes another step forward, and then he speaks loud enough for everyone to hear, his voice firm and commanding, his words clear and unwavering. It's not directed at the couple, but at the waiter. His words cut through the low hum of the restaurant like a knife. The couple feels a rush of emotion. The tension in the room thickens as they realize what's happening. The waiter freezes mid-step, his eyes wide with surprise. The chef's tone is unrelenting as he addresses him directly in front of the entire room. The waiter looks around, nervously unsure of how to respond. It's a moment of complete silence for everyone in the restaurant. As all eyes turn toward the interaction, the couple's hearts race in their chests, both unsure of what will happen next. They can feel the pressure mounting as the scene unfolds in real time. The waiter's face flushes red, and his hands tremble just slightly as the chef's words seem to strike him hard. It's as if the whole room is holding its breath, waiting for something to change, waiting for the shift to finally come. What they don't know is that this moment is the turning point. Everything that has built up to this moment is about to come crashing down on the waiter. But for the couple, it's a flicker of hope that something will finally be done to make them feel valued. The couple watches in stunned silence as the chef continues to address the waiter, his words sharp and precise, each one cutting through the tension in the room. The waiter stammers as he tries to form a response, but nothing comes out. It's clear that he wasn't expecting to be confronted so directly. The couple exchanges another glance, both of them feeling the weight of the moment as the chef's presence looms large over the situation. The room is so quiet that it almost feels like time has stopped, everyone holding their breath. As the standoff continues, the waiter's discomfort is palpable. His face reddens with each passing second, and he begins to fidget with his hands, looking anywhere but at the chef or the couple at the table. It's as if he's trying to shrink into the background, hoping to disappear, but the chef's gaze is unwavering, and the tension only grows more intense. The couple feels a strange mix of emotions, confusion, relief, and a sense of vindication as they realize that someone is finally standing up for them. After all this time, they've been struggling with the dismissive attitude of the waiter, and now they see the chef taking action. It's a powerful moment that resonates not just with them, but with everyone in the room. The couple sits still, hardly daring to move. They're unsure whether to feel sorry for the waiter, or if they should revel in the fact that someone is finally addressing the issue. They have been too polite to voice themselves. The waiter looks over his shoulder to see if anyone is watching him, but the chef blocks his path, his voice now firm and commanding. As he orders the waiter to leave the dining area, the room seems to hold its collective breath, waiting for the next step to unfold. The waiter stands there frozen, his body tense and his mind racing. He seems unsure of what to do next. His eyes flick to the other staff members, who are now looking on from the sidelines. But no one steps in to intervene. The silence is broken only by the faint clink of silverware from other tables as everyone waits for the next move from the chef. The couple is still in shock, their minds racing, trying to process the scene unfolding before them. They had never imagined that the night would take such a turn. They had hoped for a beautiful meal and an unforgettable evening, but they never expected it to become a moment of confrontation and drama. Yet as they sit there, they begin to realize that this is the moment where things will finally change for them. The waiter has been given a choice to make. Either he listens to the chef's reprimand and respects his position, or he faces the consequences of his actions. The power dynamics in the room shift dramatically as the waiter takes a step back, looking defeated, his shoulders slumped as he seems to accept his fate. The chef stands tall before him, his authority clear and undeniable. It's not just about the meal anymore, or the service. It's about respect and the expectation that everyone in the restaurant should be treated with kindness and professionalism. The couple feels the air shift as they see the waiter move toward the back of the restaurant, his steps slow and reluctant, but at least he's leaving. They can almost hear the collective sigh of relief from the other diners, who have all been witnesses to the brief moment of tension in the room. The chef turns toward the couple, his expression softening slightly, and he offers a quiet apology for the experience they've had. He tells them that their enjoyment of the evening matters most, and that he will personally take care of them from this point forward. The couple can hardly believe what they're hearing. The gesture feels sincere and genuine, and they find themselves momentarily speechless in the face of such an unexpected and powerful act of hospitality. The rest of the night is different now. The unease that had clouded their dinner is gone, replaced by a sense of calm, as the chef takes the lead in providing the service they had originally come for. The couple smiles at each other, grateful that they have not only received an apology, but have witnessed a moment of real integrity, something they will not soon forget. The chef moves with purpose as he directs the staff to clear the table of the empty dishes and quickly prepares to personally serve the couple their next course. His movements are graceful but full of intent as he oversees every detail with a level of care that the couple hadn't experienced all evening. They watch him work with admiration as he ensures everything is perfect. The woman feels a warmth settle in her chest as she notices the difference in the service. Now the atmosphere has shifted from one of cold indifference to one of genuine hospitality. The couple finds themselves smiling again. The tension that had been suffocating the evening is slowly fading away. The man looks at his partner with a look of gratitude, knowing that this unexpected turn of events has brought them back from the brink of disappointment. They had feared that the night was lost, but now it feels like a new chapter has begun. With the chef taking charge, the woman can't help but feel a sense of awe at how the situation has turned around. She had almost resigned herself to the fact that they would leave the restaurant feeling unfulfilled, but now she can sense that something special is unfolding before them. She watches as the chef approaches their table again, carrying a beautifully plated dish, with the confidence of someone who truly cares about the experience of those sitting in front of him. His smile is warm and genuine as he sets the plate down before them. He speaks to them with kindness, asking if there is anything else they need, or if they have any questions about the dish. She feels the weight of his words. They are not just an obligation to fulfill, they are a genuine offering to make sure their evening is truly memorable. The couple looks at each other briefly before nodding their appreciation. The man takes a bite of the dish and is immediately taken by the explosion of flavor, the richness of the sauce, the tenderness of the meat. It's a taste that is both complex and satisfying, a far cry from the meal they had almost resigned themselves to finishing in silence. The woman too takes a bite, and her eyes light up with surprise and delight. It's exactly what they had hoped for when they first walked through the door. This is the dining experience they imagined when they chose this restaurant. The moment they share together is filled with unspoken words, a mutual understanding that the meal has finally met their expectations and that the evening has been salvaged in a way they never thought possible. The chef comes back a few minutes later to check on them, and they engage in conversation with him. This time there's no distance between them. He asks them about their evening and genuinely listens to their answers. He even shares some details about the restaurant's philosophy about food and hospitality. The couple finds themselves laughing for the first time that evening, feeling a sense of connection with the chef who has turned the night around for them. It's not just about the food now, it's about the experience, the care, the attention to detail, and the respect that has been shown to them when they needed it most. The waiter is nowhere to be seen now, and the couple feels a sense of relief, knowing that they are finally able to enjoy their meal without the underlying tension they had felt before. The rest of the evening unfolds like a dream. The couple is treated to course after course, each one more delicious than the last, and every time the chef checks in to make sure they are satisfied, they feel an overwhelming sense of gratitude for this unexpected act of kindness. They didn't just get a meal tonight, they received an experience that would stay with them for years to come. They realize now that the earlier discomfort was necessary to bring them to this moment. Without it, they may not have fully appreciated the transformation that had taken place before them. The man reaches across the table and takes the woman's hand in his. They smile at each other, both feeling the warmth of the moment they had feared they would never reach. But here they are, and it feels like the evening was meant to end this way. They savor the final bites of their meal, knowing that this night will not be easily forgotten. It's more than just an anniversary dinner now, it's a story they'll tell for years to come about how a moment of tension turned into a powerful gesture of respect, and how they found a new appreciation for what true hospitality means. As the evening continues, the couple feels a deep sense of gratitude for the chef's intervention. They've not only been given a memorable meal, but have also been treated to a lesson in integrity and hospitality. The man looks around the room, noticing that the atmosphere has shifted completely. The once distant and cold ambience is now filled with warmth and appreciation. Even the other diners seem to be enjoying their meals with more enthusiasm. The waiter's earlier rudeness feels like a distant memory, overshadowed by the chef's remarkable presence. He moves between tables, checking in with guests, making sure that everyone is satisfied. His demeanor is calm yet assertive, and there's a newfound respect in the way the staff members interact with each other. And the guests, the woman can't help but admire how the chef has taken control of the situation. It's not just about food anymore, it's about the experience he's created in such a short time. She thinks back to the moments earlier in the evening when she and her partner were almost ready to leave when the service seemed irreparable, but now the entire night has transformed before their eyes. She feels the joy returning to her heart. As they continue to enjoy their meal, with every bite they savor the flavors more deeply, appreciating the effort that went into creating each dish. As the last course is served, the couple looks at each other, sharing a quiet smile, both of them feeling a sense of relief that they were able to stay in the moment and enjoy the evening despite the rocky start. The chef returns to their table. With one final gesture of goodwill, he places a small dessert in front of them and offers his final apology for the earlier experience. The dessert is a work of art, with delicate layers of flavor and an elegant presentation. The couple is touched by the gesture. They can't help but feel that this final course is more than just a sweet treat. It's a symbol of the chef's commitment to making things right and ensuring that they leave the restaurant with a sense of satisfaction and contentment. As they finish their meal, the couple talks about how this night will be remembered. They laugh as they recall the awkwardness and discomfort that marked the beginning of the evening. But now they feel as though they've had a true dining experience, one that will stay with them for years to come. They talk about the power of a single gesture and how it changed the course of their night. The woman reflects on how easy it would have been to let the situation ruin everything, but they chose to stay and to trust that things could get better. And they did. The man nods in agreement and thanks her for keeping a positive outlook. Despite everything, he recognizes that this night could have gone in a very different direction, but instead, it turned into something extraordinary, something neither of them will forget. The chef comes by one last time to check on them, and they express their thanks for everything he's done. They tell him how much they appreciate his kindness and how the evening has been completely transformed because of his actions. He smiles warmly and thanks them for their understanding. He tells them that it's a chef's duty to ensure that every guest leaves happy and satisfied. No matter the circumstances, the couple feels a deep sense of appreciation for him. They can see that his commitment to hospitality goes beyond the food. It's about the people, the connections, and the way they leave feeling valued and respected. As they finish their wine and prepare to leave, the couple can't help but feel a sense of closure and fulfillment. They walk out of the restaurant with smiles on their faces and their hands clasped together. They leave not just with a full stomach, but with a heart full of gratitude for the chef who turned their night around. They know this story will become a cherished memory, something they'll recount time and time again when they talk about how a small moment of kindness and respect changed everything for them. It's a reminder that sometimes the unexpected can lead to the most beautiful moments. The couple steps out into the cool night air, their hearts light and their spirits lifted, knowing that this evening will stay with them for a long time to come. The night air is crisp as the couple steps outside the restaurant. The hum of the city fades as they walk down the sidewalk, their footsteps echoing in the quiet. They share a glance, neither of them saying anything at first, but both of them feeling the same unspoken sense of gratitude for the way the evening unfolded. They walk slowly, savoring the moment, both still processing the shift that had taken place earlier in the restaurant. The woman takes a deep breath as the cool air fills her lungs. She feels lighter than she has all evening. The tension that had once clouded her thoughts is gone, replaced by a sense of peace. She's grateful not just for the meal, but for the unexpected turn of events that reminded her of the power of kindness and human connection. Her partner looks at her and smiles, his eyes twinkling in the dim light of the street lamp. He reaches for her hand, and they walk on in silence, their steps in sync. It feels like they've been given a new perspective on the night, a reminder that things don't always go according to plan, but that doesn't mean they can't turn out better than expected. As they walk through the city streets, they talk about the experience, sharing their thoughts and feelings on what happened. They discuss the chef's actions and how he had been able to restore the night with his genuine care for them. As guests, they agree that what had started as a frustrating experience turned into something much more meaningful, something that they will carry with them long after the night is over. They talk about how often people are quick to overlook the importance of service and the impact it has on an experience. They realize now how much the way they were treated had influenced their feelings about the night. Without the chef's intervention, they would have left feeling disappointed and dissatisfied. But instead, they leave with a story to tell, a story about how kindness, respect, and integrity can change the course of a situation and turn something negative into a positive. They talk about how this experience has taught them a lesson about standing up for what's right and the importance of acknowledging when things aren't going as expected. They realize that sometimes all it takes is one person to make a difference, and how much that can mean when it's least expected. As they reach their car, they pause for a moment before getting in. The woman takes one last look at the restaurant from across the street. She can still see the lights shining through the windows. The restaurant now quieter. As the night winds down, she feels a sense of closure, knowing that the evening has ended on a high note, that despite the rocky start, they've had a night that they will remember for years to come. Her partner opens the car door for her, and they both climb in. Settling into the comfortable seats, they start the engine and drive off into the night. The city lights passing by outside the window. The conversation continues, but now it's lighter. It's filled with laughter and joy. As they reflect on the unexpected twists of the evening, they both agree that this was a night to remember, not just for the food or the service, but for the way it challenged them to think about the importance of human connection. The woman smiles to herself as she looks out the window. The lesson from the night feels clear in her mind. Sometimes things don't go the way we expect them to, but that doesn't mean we can't find something valuable in the experience. It's about how we respond and how we move forward. She looks over at her partner, and he catches her eye. They both smile, knowing that the night was not just about the meal or the chef, but about the way they handled the situation together, and the deeper understanding they now share of what truly matters most. As they drive away from the restaurant, they feel a sense of warmth in their hearts despite the cold outside. They both know that this will be one of those stories they will look back on with fondness, and they will share it with friends and family for years to come, a reminder of how a small moment of respect and integrity can change everything. As they drive through the quiet streets, their thoughts linger on the events of the evening. The woman reflects on how strange it feels to leave a restaurant so full of gratitude when earlier in the night it had seemed like everything was going wrong. The man feels the same way. It's hard to believe that the night could have started in such a disappointing way. But now, as they drive away, it's hard to imagine anything better. He's grateful for the turn of events, but he's also grateful for the lesson. It's not just about the meal or the chef's actions. It's about how sometimes the most unexpected moments can have the most profound impact. He reaches over and gently squeezes her hand. She turns to him with a soft smile, both of them understanding that the night was not just about what had happened, but how they had processed it together. They talk for a little while longer about their plans for the future, how they would take this experience and use it to remind themselves of the importance of kindness in all situations. They agree that it's easy to get caught up in small annoyances or to let negative experiences define a night, but they had chosen to rise above that tonight. They had chosen to focus on the positive and to appreciate the efforts made by the chef to turn their night around. The woman looks out the window again, watching the lights of the city blur past the buildings and streets passing by in a familiar rhythm. She's not sure when exactly she started feeling this sense of peace, but she knows it's there, and it feels right. She feels as though she's carried the lesson of the evening with her now. It's a reminder that things don't always go as planned, but that doesn't mean they can't still be wonderful. They talk about other moments in their lives when things had gone wrong, but had ultimately led to something better. This night feels like one of those moments, a moment that began with frustration, but ended with understanding and appreciation. They realize now that it's not just about the night out or the food, it's about the connection they share and how they can overcome challenges together. The man reflects on how much they've grown as a couple, how they have learned to handle adversity with grace, and how they are better for it. The woman agrees with a soft nod. She feels closer to him than ever before. This night had reminded her of the strength of their bond and how they can face anything as long as they support each other. They pull up to their home, and the man parks the car slowly. They sit for a moment in the car, not rushing to leave, as they both take in the calm after the excitement of the evening. The woman turns to him again, her eyes bright with understanding. She says softly, "I think we'll remember this night for a long time." He smiles and nods, agreeing with her completely as they exit the car and walk up to their front door. It's as if the weight of the world has been lifted from their shoulders. They've had a full emotional journey tonight, and as they step inside their home, they both feel a sense of relief, as though they have left the night behind them, yet carry its lesson with them. Forever inside the house, they take a moment to settle in. She pours them each a glass of water, and they sit together on the couch. She rests her head on his shoulder, and they sit in quiet reflection. The calm of their home feels like the perfect ending to a night full of surprises. They feel at peace with what happened, because they know it wasn't just the outcome that mattered. It was the journey, the lesson, the ability to turn a difficult moment into something that deepens their relationship. They close their eyes for a moment, and both know that this evening will be one they tell for years to come. It will become a cherished memory, not just of a difficult night, but of how they chose to handle it with grace and gratitude.